Hello and welcome to Bev's Talks. I'm Bev Short and I'm your host. Now, life is filled with ups and downs, but what if the downs become constant? What if life feels like it's filled with hopelessness and despair? And what if depression becomes a daily struggle to the point that no matter how many therapy sessions you may have or different pills you may try, nothing seems to help? Now, a lot of people might be afraid or even ashamed to talk about this subject, but we're going to do that. Now, my guest today is Haley Reese. Now, Haley is from San Francisco, and she's a holistic health and happiness coach. And she helps women worldwide free themselves from the shackles of depression so they can achieve lifelong health and happiness. So welcome, Haley. Welcome to Bev's Talks. How are you today?
Thank you, Bev. I'm doing great. I really appreciate the invite to be here today. I'm very excited to be talking with you and everyone that watches your Bev Talk. So thanks for coming.
Well, it's great to have you here, Haley. Now, I've known you for a wee while now, and I've always known you to be a bright, happy, and vivacious young woman. But life hasn't always been that way for you, and you've got quite a story to tell of how you came to be the coach that you are today. And I was wondering if you could give us a bit of a background of what's actually led you to here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you're completely right. While I do feel my life is full of happiness now, it really wasn't until, 5 or so years ago that I could say that confidently. Growing up from a very young age, I was struggling with chronic depression and anxiety through my entire childhood and into college. It really, controlled my life to a huge extent. I walked around my life looking at other people and thinking, oh, they look so happy. Like they must have just been born happy and I was born depressed. I really believed that that's how it was. And I didn't yet know that I had the power to change it. I went to countless, as you said, therapy sessions, tried a number of different medications, and well, it could help me kind of tamper the feelings of depression that I was facing. I never felt like anything was getting me fully out of it. I never felt happiness being a very sustainable thing in my life. It was circumstantial and momentary and very fleeting. I just got really sick of living my life that way. I was at the end of high school and into college, started to think, is this how it's going to be? This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I came on this planet to do. Don't want to live my whole life feeling like the world is just against me and that I'm just meant to be miserable, because I don't believe anyone is meant to be miserable. So I really decided to take it upon myself to learn what I could do to change that. And I knew it needed to be a real significant shift, not just a temporary Band-Aid. So that's why, I got rid of any pill that I was on. I didn't feel like medication was the answer because that was a very external solution. And I wanted to find one that was internal. And that journey of just this self-discovery, self-care and self-help that I went on eventually led me to becoming a nutrition coach. And that's where all the pieces really started to come together for me.
But I think what I find quite interesting in what you're saying, Haley, is that you took control of that yourself. How did you know that those were the kind of things that you wanted to try, that you thought would be the things that might work for you?
That is a great question, because honestly, I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that, I'd been in therapy since I was 4 years old and gone to therapy almost weekly for the next, 15, almost 20 years. I had tried about 3 or 4 different types of medications, and those are the things that everyone tells you should work, and they weren't working. So I just knew that there had to be something else. It really wasn't that I knew what that something else was. It was more that there was this little bit of hope in me that luckily stayed there consistently. You know, it was brighter some days than others, but it was really just that hope that I kept coming back to, and that knowing that there had to be more, there had to be another way, there had to be answers out there. And especially as I grew up, I learned, okay, everyone that around me who looks so happy isn't necessarily happy all the time. We all have our struggles. And I learned a lot more about how it's how you deal with those struggles, how you cope with them, and just how you can kind of manage your own emotions and behaviors. But that was a completely brand new concept for me, managing your emotions. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but you know, when I was growing up, and a lot of people I know hear, oh, you can't control how you feel. That is a very common and very honestly destructive thing for us to tell ourselves, for us to tell our children. Because knowing what I know now, we are the only ones who have complete control over our emotions. You know, obviously we can react to things, but even you can learn how to control how you react and change that as well. So it was mostly the turning point of learning that I did have control over my emotions that started me on that path. And I really didn't know where to go first or what to try first. I just started reading like self-help books. I started reading spirituality books. I had always had a huge interest in food with a culinary background, and I love, you know, kind of the joy and love that you can put into food. And then when I learned, you know, more of the health component of it, it was just kind of a no-brainer for me to put those together and use my love of food to also help heal my body.
And so I'm assuming then, judging by the way that you look, that all this worked out quite well for you.
I definitely would say so.
Yeah, you certainly look like it's worked out well for you. So, you know, what do you do with your clients? How do you work with these women that you work with?
Yeah, so, you know, my mission after I made this huge transformation in my own life, because truthfully, it took me 4 or 5 years to really make that big shift for myself. And I'm still working on it on a daily basis. So my mission is to really take everything that I've learned over the last 5 years and distill it down for women to give them kind of a roadmap of how they can change their, you know, experience of depression, their experience of their life, take control back from their depression. And I focus on 3 key pillars in my work. So the first key pillar is nutrition. Again, I went to school for transformational nutrition coaching. And I was very lucky to find a program that was very holistic, and that's kind of where I've gotten now. So nutrition is, you know, one key to that. The second is self-care, because it goes beyond just what you put in your body. It's how you nourish yourself in other ways. And then the third piece is mindset. And third, and probably most important, I think, for women struggling with depression, once I learned that I could change how my mind works and the thoughts that I was having on a constant basis, and that they weren't just automatic, and I didn't just feel what I felt, that I could change that for myself. That was the most important key for me. So I work with women to focus on all 3 of these pillars. And my goal is, because, you know, each woman has a somewhat different experience of depression. It may stem or be rooted in their own unique problem. I really like to create custom programs to help them walk through those stages. So I don't have, like, you know, a template or, you know, walk through this program by yourself online. It's really custom, personal, and I just work each time I meet with them to meet them where they're at that day to help move them forward to the next step. But again, combining all 3 of these elements throughout.
And it's really interesting what you say about mindset. You know, I mean, mindset's a huge thing in you know, the work that I do with people as well. I mean, I've had depression. I had terrible postnatal depression. You know, I know what it's like to feel really, really, really depressed. but there's a lot of people out there, who may be feeling really bad, but they don't know if they're actually depressed. So how do you know if you're depressed? I mean, I knew, it was pretty bloody obvious, but other people just feel like really bad on a daily basis, but they might go, but I'm not depressed. I'm just, not having a good day. How will they know?
Yeah, that's a great question. And truthfully, something I struggled with myself because, as I mentioned, I just kind of thought I was born into being a sad person. I thought some people are happy and, I'm just sad. And so I didn't recognize it for a very, very long time myself. It was a lot through therapy and speaking with different therapists and psychiatrists as well, because I did end up getting, somewhat formal diagnosis. And so I think working with professionals who specialize in that field can help, illuminate that for you. But even more so, what I would tell someone if they don't have that option, or someone that they feel comfortable turning to ask those questions, my feeling about if you can know if you're depressed or not is it constant? Is it are you feeling depression over a very long span of time, no matter if good things are happening, if bad things are happening, if your life is going great on the outside, if you feel like your life should be going great on the inside, but it's not, it's definitely characterized by those feelings of hopelessness, despair, just feeling like no matter what you do, you'll never be happy again. And also, if it's been, like you said, if it's been a constant thing, or if it kind of comes up out of nowhere, but then lasts for a while, because there can be different, hormonal changes or chemical changes that occur at different stages of your life that can onset it as well. Mm-hmm. The one thing I do want to say to women who are diagnosed with depression or self-diagnosed as having depression is to not attach too strongly to that label. I felt like I attached too strongly to that label, and it almost became like a safety blanket in a way. Like I could blame things I didn't want to do, or risks I didn't want to take, or challenges I didn't want to take on, oh, well, I have depression. I can, I have to go easier, or things like that. But then you're just limiting yourself. So I really recommend to not attach too strongly to that label. But identifying that is what's going on, I think, is also a good first step towards, being on the path towards healing and really making a shift, versus, I feel bad today. And everyone's going to feel bad sometimes. It's more when it's consistent, and when you lose interest in things that you once loved, when you are disconnecting from your friends and family, when you don't feel passionate about the things you were once passionate about, when you can't get excited about things you were once excited about. I think those are some of the biggest signs to help identify that may be what's going on.
So I know that your lifestyle can affect whether you get depression or not, and how bad your depression is. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So lifestyle, I describe as just how you live your life. I think nowadays, like with magazines and TV and, a lot of the coaching world as well, like we talk about, lifestyle this and lifestyle that, and make it out to be a certain type of thing. My opinion is it's just how you wholly live your life. Everything that you do day in and day out, the little habits that you have, the way you treat yourself. And so that's kind of all three of my pillars really go into lifestyle. My goal with combining those pillars is to help women change their lifestyle, to change it from one that may not be healthy and may not be supporting their happiness, to one that does. And so lifestyle can be things like what the foods that you eat, how much water you drink, the thoughts that you're thinking, the way you're dressing yourself. Do you dress yourself in a way that makes you feel good and like a goddess, and just, bright and light and happy? Or are you throwing on old rags that, are reflecting the negativity that you may feel inside? It's really every little piece of just how you conduct yourself and how you choose to live your life and what you choose to bring in to your life and let go of in your life. So that's another big piece of lifestyle to me, and that made a big difference for myself, is when I realized it wasn't just what I was doing or my own self. It was also the people that I was, allowing into my life. And one of the hardest things for me, but also the most productive and healthy, was taking a good hard look at relationships in my life and really identifying which ones were fueling me, which ones were lifting me up, which ones were making me feel supported, which people I felt, energized by, and then which ones I felt drained by, or like they were sucking my energy or bringing me down or helping me stay in that kind of pit of despair or feeding into my negativity. So it's not just limited to your own self. It's really the world that you have created for yourself around you.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that, because I was just thinking to myself last night, I was looking at Facebook and I was thinking, I hate Facebook sometimes, you just look at everybody and you just think, oh my God, everybody's so happy, everybody's so successful. And then you start thinking, oh God, my life's shit, isn't it? And I think I've got to get away from Facebook for a while because it drives me flipping. It brings me down at times, not all the time, but there are certain times when it does actually, make me feel quite depressed. And I think, okay, you've got to have a break from it. So, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. So what are the first sort of steps that a woman can take to, to start getting herself on the road to healing herself from depression?
Yeah, so the first step really is self-awareness. It's really sitting with yourself, taking a keen eye to the things and elements in your life that are not serving you. And in this age of technology and all of the kind of sensors that we have and senses that we have coming in and out, the things that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, all of the media and advertising that is flooding us, honestly has disconnected us from ourselves and our inner knowing a lot, and a lot more than I think we're always aware of. I honestly consider myself a very self-aware person, but even I sometimes will get disconnected from myself and have to really get quiet and go inside and actively create that space for me to be able to hear my own inner knowing. And so self-awareness is that first key, because you want to be able to connect back into your unconscious, into like what your inner self, whatever your name for that part of you is, your inner knowing, where you have those answers. Because you can always trust what, the core of yourself is telling you. You know what is best for you. And that's why I think self-awareness is honestly the most important and transformational part of overcoming depression. So I recommend, as a first easy step, to just practice on a daily basis, or when, you feel like things are spiraling out of control a little bit, to get it quiet, go inside and just ask yourself some good questions. Ask yourself what you're frustrated about. You're probably going to get a first couple answers that are more circumstantial or situational, kind of on the outside. And if you keep asking what's under that and what's under that and what's under that, you're going to get to the core of what's really going on. I really believe that everything that I'm disappointed with or frustrated with in my life isn't so much about the circumstance happening outside of me. It's about how I'm feeling or reacting to that circumstance. What about that circumstance is triggering me? So I think if you can start to be more and more aware of what triggers you and why, and what's really at the core for you, that leads you to answers around what you need to change for yourself. For some people, nutrition is going to be a huge part of it. If you're, feeding yourself junk food and fast food and processed foods day in and day out, that inevitably has a very strong chemical effect on your brain and thus on your happiness. For some people, it's mindset. If you can become self-aware of the thoughts that you're telling yourself every day, and you realize that every day you wake up and look in the mirror and say, I'm ugly, I suck, I can't do this today, like nobody likes me, you're not gonna probably feel very happy. But the great thing about that is that once you become aware of those thoughts, you can decide which ones you want to keep and which ones you want to let go of. And it's as easy as deciding, okay, obviously the thought, I am ugly and I suck, is not serving me. So what would serve me more? And I think people talk a lot about affirmations, and I love affirmations in a lot of ways. But my favorite thing that I've learned recently about affirmations that's made them even more powerful is you want to use affirmations that are true enough for you that you can believe them when you're saying them. I used to say a lot of affirmations to myself, like, I'm going to be a millionaire in 1 year, and I'm going to have a coaching business that, has 100,000 women that I am helping in the next 3 months, and things that, of course, I dreamed of, but they were not at all true enough in that moment for me because I just wasn't close enough to there. I wasn't far enough along at that point. And then that kind of doesn't serve you because your unconscious mind will automatically go, no, that's not right. Like, that's too far off. And you want to feed your unconscious mind things that it can grab onto and connect with, because that's what's going to really help. So if I were telling myself, in the mirror, I'm ugly, I suck, and wanted to pick something that was closer to what I really wanted to be feeling, but maybe, oh, I'm the most beautiful girl in the world and everyone loves me, nobody dislikes me. If that's too far away from the truth, you can pick something like, oh, I really love how my eyes look today. I really enjoy my smile. Pick out little things. It doesn't have to be big, life-changing, earth-shattering ideas. It's any little small step that you can take to move yourself slightly forward in the direction that you want to go. And that, I think, is where, again, coming back to self-awareness, if you sit with yourself and learn what you need and learn to listen to yourself about what you need, and then take just one little step towards it, and then one more little step. It's all those little steps put together that will really make that transformation happen.
Yeah, that's right. It's just one day at a time, isn't it? And Rome wasn't built in a day and all that. So you have a worksheet, don't you, for people to go through now? Now, what does that do for people? They can download it. We'll give that information out. But what do they do with this worksheet?
Yeah. So, in my work, I wanted, even though I love my work being really personal and custom, and as I said, I don't currently have any programs you just walk yourself through, I did want to create a resource that was accessible to everyone and I could just offer freely to help with that, the last question you had about what's a first step that someone can take. And this worksheet is that embodied without me being there talking to you. It's something that everyone can do on their own. And so what it is it's based around my 3 pillars. And so one section focuses on nutrition and talks about small, simple steps and changes that you can make in your life when it comes to nutrition to start creating more happiness through that aspect of your lifestyle. The second piece is mindset. And again, I have different changes and activities that you can do there. And then the third is self-care. So there's just little baby steps that you can take in each of those realms. And I culminate all of this at the end in an activity for you to create your own morning ritual. I think a lot of people have become more and more familiar with the concept of morning rituals lately. We have a lot of self-help professionals talking about it. And I truly feel like that was a big turning point for me in my depression as well, is when I really committed to creating a morning ritual that started my day off on the right foot, or on the best foot that I could. I really struggled with for a long time. I would go to sleep upset. I would wake up and still be sad. And then your sadness kind of carries on throughout your day. starting your day off on the wrong foot, is a common saying, but I really find it to be true. And so creating a morning ritual that focuses on little things that you could do each day that are simple but effective to start your day off and really promote the highest happiness that you can is the whole goal that I have of, creating this morning ritual. And along with each page of my worksheet or each concept in the worksheet, I also include an essential oil because essential oils have been very healing as well for my depression, both on a physical level when it comes to nutrition and health, but also on an emotional level because oils and just their scent can instantly change your mood. And that's one thing that I love about using them in my work and with myself and my clients. So on each day of that worksheet or each page of that worksheet, I include an essential oil that pairs really nicely with it to enhance the benefit that you're getting from that piece of the puzzle.
And I think what's lovely about what you do, Hayley, is that everything is natural. It's like everything that I do when I work with people, it's natural. And I think that people underestimate the impact that they have on their health and happiness and, what's going on in their brain by what they're doing with the rest of their life. That's what holistic is all about for you and me. Sleep has a huge effect, stress, alcohol consumption, sugar, there's so many things that, can contribute to your unhappiness. But anyway, it's been fantastic talking to you, and you've shed some wonderful light on things. So where can people find you, Hayley? What's your website and Facebook and everything?
Yeah, thank you. I've really enjoyed speaking with you as well. And so if people want to connect with me further, learn about the work that I do, ask me any questions about what we've talked about today, my website is www.haleyreese.com, and Hayley Reese is spelled HALEYREESE.com. And I'm on Facebook. I have a page at Hayley Reese CTNC for my transformational nutrition coaching certification. So it's go to Facebook, type in Hayley Reese CTNC, and you should find me there. I do also have a group on Facebook for women who are dealing with depression. It's a free group called Freedom from Depression, where I share about these concepts regularly.
Well, thanks, Hayley. That's really lovely. If you'd like to get in touch with me or find out more about my programs for women over 40, you can contact me through my website, which is fitnessforwomen.co.nz. And if you've enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. The more people that get the message out about these kinds of things, the better, because we want to help women all over the world. So thank you once again, Hayley. If you'd just like to say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Bev. I've really enjoyed speaking with you today, and I truly hope that there are some women out there who needed to hear this, because I know I was one of them once, and my mission and passion is just helping women to heal themselves naturally, because it is possible, and I just want them to know that there's always hope and to not give up.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah, and thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.